the Oregon mountains to all the Mesilla Valley, reaching all of New Mexico. Broadcasting live from the Las Cruces studios, bringing you the issues that matter and the topics that count. Telling it like it is. It's the Mike Tellez Show. And now here's your host, Mike Tellez.
Thank you for joining us today at the Mike Tellez Show. My name is Mike Tellez. We are coming to you from the beautiful Las Cruces studios in downtown Las Cruces. First thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to ask people to maybe take a moment and let's pray for Roberto Estrada. Everybody knows him by Roberto's. It's the restaurant that has given us that great food forever, the big enchilada. I heard Roberto's in the hospital. He's sick and he's not doing well. And I just want everyone to pray for him. And he is a great man. Roberto is one of the most generous men I've ever met in my entire life. I mean, this guy never says no to anyone. The functions, you all will recognize his food whenever you go to functions, nonprofit functions, different functions. You'll always notice the rolled taquitos, the queso, the salsa, the chips. You'll always notice that's Roberto's thumbprint. He donates to everybody. He helps everybody. I'm going to tell you what, that man is a pillar in this community. I wouldn't mind them even changing that name to Roberto's, because that's how much of an impact he's had on our city. He is the shining star in our city, and I tell you, we pray to God in Jesus' name for Roberto to recover, for him to get through this day. We ask this in Jesus' name. I just pray for Roberto, and I ask that you do too. We've been talking about the problems in Las Cruces, the crime, the areas of town the crime's in, the homelessness, the people sleeping around all these businesses around El Paseo. We've talked about the Kilby and the nuisance it is to the surrounding businesses. We've talked about how our homelessness, there is absolutely no organization to our problem. But you know what? There probably isn't anywhere in the United States. That's what I hear. Well, Mike, show me a city someplace that has this homelessness under control, who has it in a good plan. I said, probably none. But we're not talking about what happens everywhere else in the United States. We're focusing on what happens in Las Cruces. What we want to do is, we don't want to not work on something, quit doing something because no one else has done it. Why don't we be the innovator? Why don't we be that model city that comes up with a plan, a solid plan on how to handle the homeless problem? You know, we got the property where Horse and Hound used to be. There's that giant lot next door where the landscaping company used to be. You know, we could put little canopies, almost like you go in a camping area. Those little canopies, we need to restrict these people, but give them a place right there. The little canopies, maybe a water fountain, maybe some bathrooms, porta potties, anything. And we think, well, porta potties are they're kind of harsh, or I said, porta potties would be a step up from using the bathroom on somebody's property, using it on the building, and going wherever they go in the public. We need to come up and we need to put a place right there in front of Tent City, and that's where they need to be restricted to sleep. To secure their belongings, that's a whole different animal. Maybe there's a way to put a small cage, you give a combination lock or something. Whatever it is, I'm appealing to people in our community to come up with ideas on what we can do in the area where Horse and Hound and that big lot is. What can we do to get people who are sleeping all over town to have a place that is similar, that is just anything is more humane than where they're sleeping. But, you know, they have choices. They could go to Tent City, adhere to some rules. They could go to the Gospel Rescue Mission, adhere to the rules. And there's several other programs that I've brought and interviewed on air that they could go, but they don't want to go there. So we need to give them a place that's kind of in the open, kind of out there, and just find a designated area for them to stay for now. And you know what? And maybe start getting in there and asking them and start finding out, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What are your plans? How can we help you get out of this situation? Because, you know, we need to get them off our streets and all around the neighborhoods and all over town. You know that it'd be nice if everyone had a house, but you know what? Last time I checked, in order to get an apartment in this city, you probably need a job so that you can pay the rent. All right, let's say the rent is reduced to very little. You still need a job to pay for the electricity, for the gas, for the water. No matter what, to get a dwelling, you've got to have some kind of work. Well, you know, the people that we have in Tent City, the people we would have staying in that place where they sleep, why not give them a task they need to do to earn, you know, to maybe pay for the spot they're staying in? Let's help them do something. I don't know what it is. Whether it be your task is to keep this entire area clean, litter-free. And you do that, you'll have no problem. You can stand under these canopies. There's water out here. There's bathrooms out here. If you want to sleep outside, you can sleep outside there. At least we'll have a little shelter over their head to where the sun stays out in the elements. If they want to sleep outside, that would be something. We can't give everyone houses because that really wouldn't be the right thing to do. It would be enabling. So why don't we at least give them a shelter over their head, outhouses, and water fountains to drink water, at least that in those fields in that area right there. And let's insist that if you're going to stay in here, which this is the only place in Las Cruces that you'll be able to sleep at night if you do not have a home or your own place to go to, this is the only place you can sleep. You cannot sleep under the overhang in front of the dollar store on El Paseo. You cannot sleep by the dumpsters at Bradley's. You cannot sleep on the behind Walgreens at Salmon's. This is where you'll sleep. This will be the only place you stay. And you know what? If we have to have a van giving them a ride to that sleeping quarters till they get used to it, we'll do that. Well, there's benefits of them sleeping in that area. Number one, there'll be a shelter over their head. Maybe a cage they can lock their stuff up into and give them a padlock. Small little cage in that overhang. Bathrooms, water fountains. But they'll also have the soup kitchen to eat lunch. They'll have the mission to eat breakfast and dinner. They'll have El Caldito to get supplies and food they need. It's all right there. So it only makes sense that if the basic needs are right there, why don't we restrict the sleeping to that area only? That should be the only area right there. You know what? With canopies in there, and you know what? We get out there and we groom it with have the city groom it. You know, I don't mean grass and trees, but at least get out there and put some gravel landscape in. We put those little overhangs in there. Something to get them out from the elements and off the streets, off from around the businesses, off from all around these areas where they're sleeping, someplace there. And you know what else? We could offer them a chance. You know what? This is where you all stay. Now, if you want to improve it, hey, we'll let you plant a flower garden right here. We'll let them help landscape their own little areas or something, but we need them off the streets. We need them off our corners. Tucson has been, you know, there is a law that, the federal law that says constitutional rights, says freedom of, you know, you can ask for food and money, and it's against your constitutional rights to prohibit you from doing that. But in a case to where it endangers anyone's lives, to where anyone's in danger, you could restrict panhandling if it creates a dangerous situation. which somebody in Tucson, for instance, they said you cannot stand in the median because that creates a dangerous situation. You can't stand too close to the streets because that creates a dangerous situation. Whatever we need to do, we need to get the people off right off those medians. Get them away from the sides of the streets. And whatever we need to do. I understand people need money. We all need money. I'm going to tell you what, I'll be the first to say I need money. So if anyone has some donations they want to send our way, I'll be glad to take them. Everyone needs a little extra money. But you know what? We can't have them endangering us and causing a situation with them being there on the streets. You know, there's other things we could do, and we can start, for instance, we go from the homeless, a place for them to stay, a shelter for them. We have maybe even have lighting in the middle of it, just something to have it. Put a fence, a security fence around it, and not allow drugs to be sold and handled in that area, no matter what. We cannot come to the fact that we need to allow people to do drugs. They're going to do them anyway. Well, you know what? Somewhere you got to draw the line. You can't do drugs in that area. But they'll have a place they can sleep at night. They'll have a cage, small little cage, chain link, I don't know, that they can store their personal goods in. Because I understand that if they leave them in the open, they will get stolen. We all know that. But we need to find a place for them to stay that's a lot more humane than sleeping on the streets. Now, that's the homeless deal. Now, safe areas for kids. Parks, for instance. Man, parks should be off limits for people to go out and, we need to watch these parks. I had one gentleman came up to me and said, "You're over here talking about the crime on El Paseo. You're talking about all the problems happening there. How about Young Park? My kids can't even go there anymore. Now they're finding spent needles thrown in there. They're at nighttime when it even starts to kind of get dark, we all have to leave because they're all scared of the people going out there, the partiers, the element, the gang-related type environment." He went on and on. He said there's no lights there. He said we need lights at Young Park so that our kids feel safe when they're there. We need lights to light up that area so people can see what's going on. But I said, you know what? That is not asking too much. To light up the parks a little bit better, I think that's a great idea. We need to light those parks up. When we come back, we're going to talk about a few other things, and we're going to talk about how you can get involved in trying to make a difference in this city. We're putting together a movement. My name is Mike Tellez with the Mike Tellez Show.
Hi folks, I'm Dave Gallus. This is your 3A Research Minute. We're here with CEO Michael Raucci of 3A Research here in Las Cruces. Michael, could you tell me the procedure of a trial?
Sure, Dave. A participant will come to our office to see if they qualify for a study. Once they qualify for a study, they will be asked to do evaluations throughout the course of a 3-month period or longer, and they'll come in periodically to see their progress and make sure they're safe and they're okay.
Michael, could you tell us the location here in Las Cruces? Where's that?
We are located in the heart of Las Cruces, 530 North Telshore Boulevard, Suite B. We have 2 locations in El Paso, and we've done so well, we had to extend ourselves here to this great community. So far, Las Cruces has been very responsive, and we love Las Cruces, so excited to be here.
Thanks, Michael. I hope the folks take advantage of this opportunity. That's been your 3A Research Minute here in Las Cruces. See you next time.
If your loved one has passed away due to COVID-19, pay close attention to this message. You could be entitled to a death benefit of over $300,000. The U.S. government has set up a fund to pay families relief if they've lost a loved one due to COVID-19. The compensation includes a death benefit and lost wages benefit. Time is limited, so we urge you to make a free phone call right now. There's no cost to you for this claim. That's 866-372-3669.
Hi, I'm Ray Bamberg with Here on Earth. I would like to invite you for a free hearing evaluation to our office. We've been here in southern New Mexico for 34 years helping people hear better.
Do you suffer from rashes, dryness, flakiness, and thickness to the skin? 3A Research is conducting a trial of an investigational drug on plaque psoriasis. Subjects must be 18 years of age or older. This is an 8-week study. We will compensate you for your time and travel up to $225.
Enrolling participants now in Las Cruces. Contact our office at 575-288-1646 or visit our Facebook page at 3A Research or our website 3asites.com.
Taking a trip in the next 12 months? Airlines are under tremendous pressure and they're practically giving away their unsold seats. Like every crisis, this one will end too. But right now is the best time to take advantage of giveaway ticket prices on their unsold seats. We're not allowed to publish these low fares online. The only way to get these rock bottom giveaway prices is to call. So phone low-cost airlines now for airline ticket prices you may never see again.
And we're back to the Mike Tellez program. My name is Mike Tellez. We've been talking about some of the things that we could do to improve our community. We talked about creating a place right in front of Tent City where Horse and Hound, right next door to it, for homeless people to sleep at night with shelters over the top, water fountains, maybe some bathrooms, porta potties, something. Just someplace they could sleep rather than all around businesses in the downtown area. We talked about putting lights in Young Park. I believe that those parks need to be lit up. They need to be lit up so you can see what's going on. And patrolled when families are out there, a heavier patrol to protect families and kids. Drugs should be just like a weed and seed program. Weed and seed program is where there's an extra protection, like around a certain neighborhood against guns and drugs and things such as that. I think the parks need to have a heavier emphasis on protection from drugs, guns, and the wrong element. Because, you know, the young kids, they don't have a lot of places to play in that area. So my goodness, that park ought to be theirs, because it's not like they can get a car and drive anywhere. That should be their park. So it should be safe, secure, and lit up. And that is something we ought to put a priority on, because it is summer. And, you know, this is the time we need to start thinking about taking care of the younger people that are using it. We've talked about that. You know, serving alcohol right across the street from a park where kids play, man, I don't know if that is just something I don't agree with. You know, I haven't drank in many, 23 years, 24 years, but I'll tell you what, I can appreciate the fact people like to have a place they can sit down and have a drink. But on Mesquite Street, across from the park, does that really seem like a good place to have an alcohol establishment? One of those micro bars? That does not make sense. Why are we taking this into the neighborhoods now? Tell me, what neighborhoods around this city do we see bars right in the middle of? Mesquite Street is a neighborhood. That park is in the middle of a neighborhood. Residents live all around it. Why are we putting a bar right in the middle of a neighborhood, in a residence? That makes no sense. We shouldn't be putting bars right across from a park. That ain't the right place to put that bar. My goodness. We just got to be smarter when we allow certain businesses to go into certain areas. And a drinking establishment in a neighborhood across the street from a park where kids play with swings and slides, where children play serving alcohol. That makes no sense. And I tell you what, that is something that should never have gone forward. I can't imagine how it did, but it did. That I don't think is productive at all. What do we want to do? Get everybody accustomed to having a bar right there? Maybe start training them young what alcohol to drink? How about having the people who are drinking, that element, right next to where your kids are playing? The people that allowed this to happen, the council members, I want to ask you, would you leave your children in a park right next to a bar to where people are drinking? You got to ask yourself that. Whenever you allow things like this to happen, you need to ask yourself, would I let my children play right there in that park next to a place where they're drinking? Would I take that chance? Would you let your little girls go there and play with that bar right there? Your little boys, little girls? Would you let them go play there right next to an establishment where people are drinking? That's a common sense thing right there. I don't understand it. We'll drive on. We've talked about people getting run over in the streets. We've talked about people just randomly walking into that street and crossing. The big offenders being Picacho. There's been several in that area by the tennis courts. I saw someone get run over up Picacho right by the courthouse, but we see them get run over all around. El Paseo's another major one that people have gotten run over. I've got a couple people I knew that got run over on that street. Now, you know, automobiles, we do have a responsibility to follow the laws, drive the speed limit, pay attention, drive. But my goodness, we need to find a way. Crosswalks. We need to get some crosswalks a little bit closer together. I don't know, maybe one in every block even. But we need to make it a little easier for somebody to use those crosswalks. Maybe put a flashing light or a reflective light, put something on that crosswalk area that let people know it's a crosswalk. It doesn't have to be an elaborate $1 million setup, just something simple. A crosswalk with a couple big signs and reflectors on it. Something to let people know that's a crosswalk. Then we need to start have our guys on the bikes patrol and say, hey, you know what? You got to start using the crosswalks. And they don't need to go give a ticket or arrest them or anything. Just go through there and start showing the public these crosswalks. If you want to cross, you need to start using these crosswalks. That would probably solve a whole lot of the problems of pedestrians getting run over. We got to, common sense items. It doesn't take much to put a crosswalk up or some signage with reflectors and have our patrolmen on bicycles, since they don't have enough cars. That's what I heard. They didn't have enough cars. They're short 20 cars. So let's get them they have bikes. Let's let them patrol that area on bikes and start enforcing those crosswalks. Watch this. If we can start removing the people sleeping all around the buildings at night into a more humane area to sleep, next to the Old Horse and Hound on Amador, in front of Tent City, a place where they have bathrooms, water, and 3 meals a day if they want to go eat, clothing and things such as that. We're moving them from a place that's inhumane for someone to sleep in to a humane area for them to stay. We do that. There's one way to do that. We'll get them. We have to have vans. Let's get vans, go pick them up. Maybe one of those small city buses can take them and drop them off there and say, this is where you need to stay. Here's a little lock crate for your stuff. We don't need shopping carts all over the city left. You keep it right here in your little spot and give them their spot. Find a way to secure it, whatever it takes. But we get the shopping carts off the streets and get the people from sleeping all around off the streets. That's a simple thing. You know, canopies could be simple. They don't have to be elaborate. We don't need multi-million-dollar canopies. Get something simple, something affordable. We got city buses already that can pick people up and take them to those places. You know, there's what we need to do. We need to brainstorm. We need ideas. I'm asking you, contact me at MikeTellezShow@gmail.com. Contact me on Facebook. I'm asking you to contact me. Let me know what your thoughts are. Contact me on email. Contact me on YouTube. Contact me on Facebook. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something. Please share this video. And if you like it, put a comment. If you don't like it, put a comment. But one way or another, tell me what you think. If you like it, give it the thumbs up. Please share this video. And let's get some momentum going in our city to make Las Cruces the best city in the U.S. to live in. My name is Mike Tellez. I want to thank you for joining us on the Mike Tellez Show.